Hang in there, boy. All right. Oh, it's already hot in here. I can already feel the heat in here. All right, ready? Mic check. This is me. This is Alvy. This is the Cine-Ops pod. This is the shirt I chose. All right. Maybe the shirt is doing too much. I'll go one up. All right, I'll go one up, and the button I'll leave half. So but you see, now this is too little. All right, how about this? I'll undo the button. Keep it tight. All right. All right, Cine-Ops podcast. The Cine-Ops podcast. And we do movies here. Oh, the Cine-Ops podcast. We do movies here. Welcome to the Cine-Ops podcast. Welcome to the Cine-Ops pod. Welcome. Hey, how are you? Welcome. Hey, how are you? Welcome. Hey, welcome. Welcome back to the Cine-Ops podcast. And is this a movie analysis channel? No. What are we? What do we do here? Are we a thing? What are we? We're a storytelling podcast. We're a movie storytelling podcast. Oh, it's so funny. All right. Focus, Alvy, focus. Come on, Alvy, focus. Come on, Alvy, focus. Get it together, man. You only have 1 day a week to do this. Don't waste it. You only have 2 hours. All right. All right. Welcome back to the Cine-Ops podcast. The storytelling movie podcast where I watch a movie and I'll tell it to you so that way you decide whether you want to watch it or not, or if it's something you might like, or maybe it's like a refresher, right? Because you've seen this movie. Maybe it will persuade you to go watch it. Maybe it will just engage you, and we'll have a movie talk. You know what I mean? I'm mostly gonna narrate the movie, and maybe sprinkle a few jokes, a little conversation, and that's how we roll here. The last episode we did, what was it? What was it? All right, I'm gonna try to remember without looking it up. The last episode we did a Fast and Furious. Do the Right Thing. Yeah, there it is. I got it. Do the Right Thing. Spike Lee directed it. I've been watching a lot of Spike Lee interviews, and I've been just trying to get more into the movie mindset, I guess, by just enjoying movies. You know, we try not to bash movies too hard here. We mainly just try to enjoy and maybe revisit. You know, I wasn't sure what movie to do next. Two of my friends, they don't know each other. They're from two separate worlds. One is black, one is white. You didn't have to know that, but they are from different worlds. They both recommended this movie. And I was like, oh, here's a little thing. One of them recommended it. They both mentioned this movie. They both talked about it. And when one of them told me, I was like, didn't care. But since the other one told me, all right, we'll do it. They're watching. I'm not going to say which is which. Oh, man, I think the window's open. Oh, man, I think I left the window open, but hopefully nothing too crazy happens outside. I live in a pretty nice neighborhood. So, two of my friends from separate worlds, they recommended this movie. I wasn't sure what movie I was going to do, but I just thought it was odd that two friends don't know each other, two different circles, two different worlds. One is black, one is white. They recommended Eyes Wide Shut. A 1999 Tom Cruise? Yeah, Tom Cruise film. And it's cool. You must have heard of it or heard references to it. And it's a Stanley Kubrick movie, right? I've been trying to learn more about directors. This was Stanley Kubrick's last film. He's done a whole bunch of stuff, right? He did The Shining and a whole bunch of other suspenseful drama, cool movies, right? He's a good guy, good director. That guy, that's Stanley. Good director, that's Stanley. And This movie, it is about not like a secret society, but it's a secret in the background, right? The elites, they meet every once in a while. They have some nice, intense, crazy parties, and Tom Cruise kind of walks into one, or kind of has to deal with the effects of going to one. So with that happening, right? So we all, if you're not an elite, I guess, one of the rich or whatever, so you don't know, right? But say they have, let's say they have these Diddy freak-offs, right? Because now we're like, oh, there's Diddy freak-offs. They're doing freak-offs. It's kind of the same thing, but they're more sophisticated. They're more exclusive, very secretive. So Stanley Kubrick, he had to study a lot of, behind the scenes rich people, I guess. So he can, study to make the film. He made the film, and 5 days before the film was released, Stanley Kubrick died. That's it for Stan. That's it for Stan. So people were like, whoa, was this movie so legit? Was this movie going to expose the industry? And they had him silenced. He's gone. Is there something in my head? What is that? Oh, yeah, it's a Silver Surfer. So this is Eyes Wide Shut. I think it's 1999. The movie takes place, and it's Nicole Kidman. She's married to Tom Cruise, and I think at the time they were married for real. Maybe, I don't know. And Tom Cruise is a rich New Yorker because he's a doctor, and Nicole Kidman's his wife, and they have this beautiful apartment in New York City. So as long as I've known, rent in New York City is crazy. So for him to have this nice of an apartment, this nice of a place, he has to be rich. And on this night, he's been invited to a party, right? It's like a very formal party. He's wearing a tux. His wife is wearing a gown. And he's going to go, and he rubs shoulders with these aren't the elites, right? These are just rich people in New York City. His friends, his colleagues, I guess. And his main friend, he's the one hosting the party at his mansion. I don't know exactly what he does, but he's super rich, right? You see the mansion. You see the spread, the band, everything. This guy's super rich. This guy's super rich. And he goes, and everybody's very formal, right? Tom Cruise is like, oh, hey, how are you? Hey, good evening, how are you? So everybody's super formal. Everybody has champagne, everybody's dancing. And, right, they're mingling. They're mingling. He says hi to his friend who invited him there. And then, Nicole Kidman makes a comment like, wow, like, what'd you do to get invited to a place like this? And he's just a doctor, right? He makes house calls to rich people, or I don't know what it is. I don't know how he knows this guy. They're buddies. Not too long after being at the party, Tom Cruise, he's like, oh, meet me at the bar. I'm going to go say hey to this guy, because as he's at the party, he recognizes the guy playing the piano. And he's like, hey, that guy, that's Nick. That's Nick Nightingale. I went to medical school with him. And she's like, oh, really? Why is there a doctor playing the piano? He's like, oh, no, he didn't graduate. He didn't finish medical school. Go get a drink. I'm going to go say what's up to him, and I'll catch back up with you later, right? She goes to the bar. He meets up with the piano player, right? He just got off the keys, right? And he's like, oh, wow, Bill, right? Because Tom Cruise's character is named Bill. You already know me. I'm probably just going to call him Tom Cruise the whole time. And he meets up with Nick, and he's like, Nick, how are you? All right. And they're just catching up. They're remembering their time in medical school together, probably like 10 years ago, they said. And he's like, oh, man, yeah, like, no, I'm just playing the piano, this and that, everything's cool. And they're friends, right? They're hitting it off, they're catching up. And they're like, hey, Doc. Not Doc. They're like, hey, Bill, or Tom Cruise, we need your help. Can you come over here real quick? So Nick's like, hey, bro, well, I'm gonna be in town. I'm gonna be playing at this cafe over here. I'm gonna be playing at this bar. If you ever want to come by, I'll be here during the week. I'll be here, the weekend or whatever. Because this movie takes place over the span of 2 days, right? No, wait. 3, ultimately, I think it's 3 days at the most. It's just 3 days at most. So they call Tom Cruise away. So he catches up with his buddy. His buddy's going to be like, I'm going to be over here, whatever. All right, so now Tom Cruise is hanging out with these girls, right? And he's like mingling, getting to know all these people, and he ends up with these girls that I think they're models, right? So they're models, and they're like, "Oh, Tom Cruise, you don't remember us? This and that, a long time ago, whatever, blah blah blah." So while he's talking to these models, Nicole Kidman's at the bar, and she's getting hit on by this older gentleman, right? This silver fox, this handsome older gentleman who has like a British accent, and he's hitting on her hard, and she's like, not saying no. She's like, "Oh, I'm married," and he's like, "Now, why would a beautiful woman such as this, whatever it is, he's laying down that English game. He's putting a little English on it. He's flirting with her, and she's like, "So what do you do?" She's like, "Oh, I used to work for an art thing. I used to be an art decorator or a curator for an art thing." And he's talking to her, flirting with her. I don't know if she's already had a few drinks, but he's like, "Oh, well, I know you're married, but is your husband one of the kind of husbands that would mind if I dance with you?" Right? So they're dancing, and she's being polite, she's being nice, she's enjoying the attention. I think, right? I think that's very clear. They make that very clear, because when she was like walking around with the English guy and dancing or whatever, they both saw Tom Cruise, and he was with two models, right? And then she's like, "All right, she's gonna dance, right?" So she's dancing with him. And Tom Cruise, they kind of go around the corner, right, with the models, and he's hanging out with the models, and then some guys that work at the party, they're like, "Oh, Mr. Cruise, Mr. Tom Cruise, the owner of the party, oh, he'd like a word with you, please." And he leaves the models, he goes to the back room, right, and the rich guy, the owner of the house, the host of the party, he's in trouble, not in trouble, but he has a young girl who's overdosed on speedball, heroin, whatever. Right, and he's like, "Oh no!" So Tom Cruise, he's a doctor, right? So he's like, "How long has she been like this?" He's being very, very professional. He knows how to do it, this and that. And he does something, right? He kind of like checks on her. He's like, "All right, she needs to like sit up, this and that. You need to get her to the hospital. She's gonna be all right, this and that, whatever." Like she's snapping out of it, but she still needs to stay here for like another few hours, So the host, right, the old man, his buddy, I don't know what his name is, right? He's just the old rich buddy. He's like, "Oh, Tom Cruise, thank you so much. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you, this has to stay between us, all right?" Because he's like, I don't know if he's like a politician or he's just a rich person, right? And Tom Cruise is like, of course, man, this and that. So then, they have a nice party. They go back home. And I think they make love to each other, right? Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise, they make love to each other. And there's husband and wife. Their husband and wife, they make do passionate love. That's beautiful. But as they're talking, I think her nightly ritual or nightly thing, they get home and they kind of roll a joint, and they're in the room smoking together, right? That's smoking together with your spouse. Oh, that's beautiful. Made love, smoking together. Oh, that's what life's about. So they're smoking. And she says, "Oh, can I ask you what happened? Where'd you disappear to with those models, right?" Because she thinks that he was just missing with these two models. And she's like, "Did you fuck those models?" And he's like, "What? No, I was with them, but I got called away to go do something else." And he can't really say that girl overdosed, right? So I got called away, and no, it's not like that, this and that. And then she kind of starts like getting angry. And she's like, "Oh, let me guess, you weren't even worried about me with this English guy, right? Because you don't get jealous. You don't, you're the kind of husband doesn't even care, this and that." And then he's like, what do you want?" "No, I'm not jealous of you because I know you're not going to cheat on me. I know you're not going to do this. I know this and that, whatever. And she's like, "Yeah, whatever, right?" So she's upset, and she starts telling him this story. He's like, you remember our vacation a few years ago, or like last year? We're at the summer in whatever. And there was this young Navy officer, right? And he was like, I don't know how she described him. She's like, how he was tall and handsome in his Navy uniform and whatever. Well, I would have let him, whatever. Like I was ready to throw away my marriage, being the mother, ruining my kid's life by divorced parents, whatever. I was ready to throw it all away, Tom Cruise. But I didn't because whatever. But she says that she dreamed about him. She dreamed of that Navy officer smashing her. Now, she didn't say that. I don't remember how she worded it, right? But she said like, oh, she dreamed of him taking her, this and that. And she was like super, I guess she'd been holding on to that for a while, you know what I mean? And now that I guess like Tom Cruise wasn't jealous of her, it kind of like brought it back up, right? He's like, "What do you want?" Like Tom Cruise, he didn't really have time to argue because the phone rang. The phone rang, so the last thing she said was like, "Oh, I would have let this dude hit this and that, whatever, throw away our marriage." And I had a dream that he did, but whatever, right? But like before Tom really answered or had any time to process or whatever, is this at the right volume? The right time to process everything and whatever. He gets a phone call, and one of the patients that he has died. So he's like, I have to go. I have to be there for the patient. I have to go to their house, right? So he has to leave his house. It's like, what time is it? It's probably like 10 p.m. maybe. It's like 10 p.m. or something. And let's see. It's at night, right? So he gets called, and he goes over to the patient's house. Wait, I have the movie right here. I could just, I forget that I have it playing right here. Right, so he goes to the patient's house, and the father of this lady had just died. And the young lady, she's crying, and she's like, "Yeah, my father, thanks for being here, this and that. And yeah, I need to make these arrangements." And she's kind of like in distress, She just lost her father. She can't figure out. And Tom Cruise is like, "Of course, yeah, I'm here for you, this and that." And then she's like, "Yeah, my boyfriend, he's on his way, but he's not here yet, this and that, whatever." And then she kind of just, something changes, and she's like, I love you, Tom Cruise. I've always loved you, this and that. Oh, and Tom Cruise, because, we saw him flirting with the models and everything like that. So we're like, oh, is this what Tom Cruise does? Is this what he's been up to? He's kind of like a scumbag doctor. But no, Tom Cruise is like, listen, you're going through a big emotional thing. We don't really know each other. You don't know what you're saying, all right? Just calm down. You're just grieving, this and that. So he's handling it very professional, right? He's a doctor, a man of medicine. And he's like, please, your husband or your fiance's on his way. We barely know each other. I was your father's physician. Please calm down, whatever. And she calms down, right? The boyfriend comes, this and that, and he they do whatever the funeral or the dead arrangements kind of thing is. The deadable arrangements, whatever the deadable arrangements are, right? So that happens. It ends, and then he's like walking down some street on New York City, right? I don't know if it's like a shitty area or whatever, but there's like some ladies of the night. There's a few ladies of the night there, right? And we know he's married. We're like, oh, Tom, is this whole time we're like, Tom, is this what you do? You're a scumbag doctor. But he's always very, very courteous, very professional. And even though he is like in a hooker type area, a girl comes up, right? And she's like, hey, like I live right here. You want to come up for whatever? And he's like, oh, you live, you know what I mean? So he's like, oh, all right. Yeah, I'll go up. All right, so we know what it is. She's a lady of the night. She's working. And I guess he's just, right, he's still processing all the stuff with, the girl did heroin earlier today or the night before. Then his wife said that, oh, you're not jealous, and I would have let this dude hit. I would have let this dude smash me. And then he went to this dead person's house, and now the girl was like, oh, Tom Cruise, I'm in love with you. And now he's talking to a hooker, right? He's in a hooker's apartment, and she's nice, right? He's not like one of those dirty scumbags that, I mean, I don't know. I've never been with a prostitute. I feel like it's, small talk. I'd panic at the small talk, so I just avoid it at all costs. But, right, he's talking, he's very friendly to her. She's very nice to him. And, while they're negotiating what they should do, right? Because you can see Tom Cruise is uncomfortable, but he's unsure, he's uncomfortable, but he's being nice. The girl's nice, and his cell phone rings, right? And then it's his wife, and she's like, "Hey, are you gonna be much longer, or should I just go to bed?" And he says, "Oh yeah, I'm still at the client's house, right? The guy that died. I don't know how long it's gonna be. Yeah, just go to bed." Right? Hangs up, and the prostitute's like, "Oh, was that your wife?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, do you have to go?" He's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go, but I'm gonna pay you anyway. Like whatever we agreed on, I'm gonna go ahead and give you that." And he's like, "Oh no, you don't have to because we didn't do anything." He's like, "Nah, come on." Right? He's a good guy. He's a good doctor, man, medicine. He's a good guy, Tom Cruise. Right? So he gives her the money, and he's walking again, right? He's walking down the sidewalk. And as he's walking down the sidewalk, he ends up at a jazz bar. At a jazz bar, and it just happens to be the same one that his buddy that he ran into at the party either the day before or earlier that night. He has his picture on the wall. So he's like, "Oh, this is the bar my friend told me about." And he goes in there, and he kind of hangs out while his buddy gets off the piano, right? And he gets off the piano, and they're like catching up. They're having a drink. They're having a good time. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I can't hang out too long, but I got to go to another spot, another gig, right?" He's like, "Oh really? You got another gig coming up?" He's like, "Yeah, this party's crazy. Like they don't even get started until like 2 a.m. It's crazy." He's like, "Oh really?" He's like, "Yeah, like it's so crazy that I have to play blindfolded." And he's like, "What? What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, I can't even really say, bro. Like, but I've been to a lot of crazy parties, and like last time, through my blindfold, it gets pretty crazy there, bro." And Tom Cruise is like, "What? What are you talking about? You gotta take me with you, right?" It's intrigued him, right? He said, "You gotta take me with you, bro." And he's like, "No, bro, I can't. Like, you wouldn't even if I wanted you to go with me, you couldn't even get in." And that's when he gets a phone call. And he gets a phone call, and he's like, "Hello?" Yeah. He writes something down on the napkin, and he's like, "Okay, all right, I'm on my way." He's like, "All right, Tom Cruise, I gotta go, man. I gotta go to that gig." He's like, "Bro, you can't just leave me with that. You can't. I gotta go to this party with you." And he saw the password, right? The password is Fidelio. Fidelio. I knew a dog named Fidelio. When I was in the Marines, when I was in the military, I had to work with, at one point I worked with a dog handler. And he was like, he was so cool, man. He was a sergeant, right? And his dog was, I think the guy was a corporal. Dog was a sergeant. And sometimes he would like run he would go out with a dog like on a harness on his leg, and that dog's name was Fidelio. Anyway, different. That was a lifetime ago. That dog's name was Fidelio. So Fidelio, and he's like, "What is this?" He's like, "That's the password to get in." And he's like, "Oh, bro, like you got to tell me where it is." He's like, "Look, even if I told you where it is, you're not gonna be able to go in there like that because you have to have like a cloak, a masquerade mask, and a tuxedo, this and that." And he's like, "Okay." So then we see Tom Cruise. He goes to like this shop, right? This I don't know if he's like a dry cleaner or like a suit rental type place. And he goes, right? He goes and he knocks on there, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Tom Cruise. I'm a doctor. I used to be the doctor of the guy who owns this store." And it's probably like 10. You know, it's 10 p.m. or 11. And he's like, "Oh, he doesn't work here anymore, but I guess I can help you." So he goes and he's like, "All right, yeah, I just need a cloak with a hood, a mask, and a tuxedo." And he's like, and the guy, he's like an older looking, maybe Russian or maybe something like that. And he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let me see if I can help you, this and that." Because Tom Cruise, he's playing the doctor card, and he's playing like, "Oh, whatever you pay, I'll give you $100. Whatever it costs, I'll give you $100 on top of that." So $100 in 1999 must have been maybe even 200 now. Is that true? I don't want to just. All right, I'll look it up because I am curious. How $100 in 1999? How much is that worth today? And it says, according to inflation, this and that, $100 in 1999 would be the same as $193. So I was pretty close, right? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So $100 in 1999 is $193 now. That's pretty crazy. Anyway, so the dude's like, "Oh yeah, like just give me the clothes for $100 on top of the tab, whatever it is," and he's helping him, right? He's picking out a mask, and he's getting everything ready for him, and he's like, "Oh, did you hear that? What was that noise?" Right? The store owner's like, "What was that noise?" And he goes to the bag, and it's like this young girl who like. It's like his daughter, right? Like his probably like teenage young adult daughter, and she's in the room with like two dudes, and he goes in, he's like, "What are y'all doing?" Right? He's like throwing stuff at him. He's like, "What are y'all doing? This and that." And he tells the daughter, like, "Get out of here, go to your room, whatever." And the dudes, they're like in the office, right? They were like in some kind of like office / storage closet. He's like, "Yo, stay here till the cops." Like he locks them in there because they're like half naked or whatever. He like locks them in there. He's like, "I'm gonna call the cops. It's gonna be a police matter, whatever." And whatever, right? He sends the daughter up to his room, and the daughter, she hides behind Tom Cruise, and you could tell she's kind of like, she was down for it, right? She was down for 2 dudes at a time. But anyway, so the dude's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Cruz." So he gives him the thing, and Tom Cruise, he grabs his suit, this and that. He has the address, he has the password. He tells the cab driver, "Hey, take me to this location," or whatever. He's like, "All right," and they start driving. Right, he's driving into the night, and he's just like in the back, right? Because you couldn't just be on your phone in the Uber, so he's kind of just like sitting there thinking. He keeps picturing that. That tall, handsome Navy officer smashing his wife, right? Just pounding her, smashing her, just pounding her, smashing her. And it's just like, it's in his brain. He can't, that's why he didn't want to go home, I guess, right? That's why he kept like, even though all these things were happening, he just didn't want to go home, right? Then he heard about this party. It intrigued him that you needed a password, this and that. And they pull up to this big property, right? Like a mansion. And there's a gate outside. There's 2 guys at the gate. And he tells the cab driver, he's like, "Look, buddy. He's like, "Look here, buddy. Keep the meter running. Whatever the meter is, by the time I come out, I'll give you $100 on top of that. So that's $200. So you're going to pay the meter and you're going to give me essentially a $200 tip." And the cab's like, "Nah, man, I don't want to do that." He's like, "Hey, come on, $200. I'm going to give you $200. He's like, "All right, how long are you going to be?" And he's like, "I could be 10 minutes. I could be an hour. Just all you got to do is just wait." And he's like, "All right." So Tom Cruise gets out of the cab and he goes up to the gate, right? And the guys are like, "Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. May we have the password? Good evening, sir. May we have the password?" And he says, "Fidelio. Come right in, sir." Right? They get him in. They put him in a little car. They take him up to the mansion, right? Because this was just the gate. And take him to the mansion. He goes into the mansion. Everybody's wearing masks. Everybody's wearing cloaks. And they let him in, right? The guys in cloaks that are like the servers. They're like, "Oh, right this way, sir. Right this way, sir." Right? Super creepy, right? Super nice, giant mansion, right? And he kind of like walks through the doors, and he gets to like the main room, the open room. And they're doing like a ceremony. And everybody's wearing cloaks. Everybody's wearing masks. And they're gathered in a big circle. And in the center of the circle, there's a red rug. There's a ring of people in cloaks. And at the center of the ring, there's a man with a red cloak, right? He's the only one wearing red cloak. He has a gold mask. He has a staff. And he's like burning like a sage, like an incense. It's like they're doing a ceremony. It's very, it looks like not really a sacrifice, not really a seance. What else is there? But in the distance, in the back, you can see the piano player, right? Tom Cruise's buddy. He's blindfolded playing the piano, right? And they're doing this, and Tom Cruise, you can see you can see him because he's the only one that's 5'5", not the Short King, nothing wrong with that. No, but he's the only one that the camera keeps focusing on, right? Because it'll pan over a bunch of people in cloaks, but it'll kind of stop on Tom Cruise, and you can kind of see his eyes kind of like looking around through his mask. And the people in the circle in cloaks, they stand up, they drop their cloaks, and they're all women. They're all thin white women. I wish they would have. I mean, if I go to one of these parties, I hope they mix it up with that's neither here nor there. But right, it's all these naked women. They're all like in their thongs, but they're wearing their masquerade mask, right? And it looks like a ritual, like they're doing something, right? Because the dude is like, he like taps his staff on the ground, and they stand up. He taps it twice. They drop their cloaks. He taps it again, and each woman starts kissing the next woman in the circle, right? So you're like, "Oh my God, what is this? What is this? What are they doing?" And then the women, they kind of all, after it ends, they all kind of go into the crowd, and all the people are kind of like dancing, taking people, this and that. And one of the women, she goes straight to Tom Cruise, right? She like kisses him on the mask, their mask kiss, and she takes him, right? And they're walking through the hallway. She's leading him down the hallway, and she says, "What are you doing here? You don't belong here." And he's like, "What? But I know the password." She's like, "Well, I know you're not supposed to be here. This and that, blah, blah, blah." He's like, He's like, no, what do you mean? Like, just go. You have to get out of here. Because like right when she's telling him that, the lady's like, you have to get out of here. You don't know what you got yourself into. And she's like, as she's saying that, somebody comes in. He's like, oh, excuse me, mind if I steal her away for a bit? And you can always tell which mask is Tom Cruise because the mask looks just like Tom Cruise. They take that girl away, right? She has to go dance and entertain the other guests. And Tom Cruise, he's kind of like walking through the party, right? And everywhere you go, it's like all this it's pretty much like a very exclusive sex party, right? And in 1999, this is crazy, right? You see, oh, there's a couple fucking on the couch there. Oh my God, these guys, people in clothes are watching them. Everybody has a mask. Everything's like artsy, and he keeps walking through all these rooms throughout the mansion, and is sex, right? All these women are topless. All these people are with other people, and Tom Cruise, he's like walking through the mansion. He can see all of this. So after Tom Cruise walks to all the main parts of the mansion, we can see that they're done with the pianist, right? So his buddy, the pianist, they walk him out. He's still blindfolded. They walk him out, and then after a while, one of the assistants. One of the guys, they come to Tom Cruise, and they're like, excuse me, Mr. Cruise. Was that your cab driver outside? And he's like, yes. He said, well, he's at the door, and he wants to have a word with you. I can escort you there. He's like, okay, right. So he's following the guy. He's following the guy back to the main entrance. And when they turn the corner, they're back at the ceremony room, and everyone in the black cloak and mask, they're sitting there. The man in the red cloak is there, and they're all watching Tom Cruise. And they're like, approach Tom Cruise, right? So everybody circles around Tom Cruise. So now Tom Cruise is in the middle with the man in the red. And he's like, may I have the password, please? And Tom Cruise is like, Fidelio. He said, oh yes, thank you. That's the password for the front of the house. Can you give me the password for this one? And he's like, he's shuffling a little bit. He's like, I guess I forgot. It seems I've forgotten the password. And he's like, oh no, right? So everybody's upset with him, right? He's like, oh, it seems I forgot the password, and everybody's upset with him, right? The guy in the red cloak, everybody's wearing masks. Everybody's wearing masks. They're all staring at him through their mask. And they're all different. They're kind of scary, right? When it's showing this part and it zooms in on everybody's mask, it's pretty creepy. And he's like, may you remove your mask? Right? Tom Cruise takes off his mask. He's like, now undress. And he's like, what? Like, I'm not going to undress, bro. He's like, you have to undress. And he starts getting like, the guy in red, he starts getting aggressive with Tom Cruise. And then somebody in the distance, he's like, leave him alone. I'll take his punishment from here on out. And Tom Cruise is like, what? Who even knows me here? And it's the girl that told him you shouldn't be here in the beginning. So you had to get out. And the guy in red is like, you'll take his punishment? She's like, yes. And do you know what you're saying? Do you know what you mean? Yes, I accept. I accept the punishment, this and that, whatever. He's like, all right. The man in red is like, all right. Turns back to Tom Cruise, and he's like, leave here. Never speak a word of this to anybody. Forget what you saw. Whatever. Get out of here. Get out of here, Tom. So Tom, he leaves, right? He's shook. He leaves, and when he gets home, it's like 4 a.m. It's 4 a.m. He gets home, and he's a little shook, right? And he's taking off his shoes. He's getting ready for bed. He sits on the bed, and his wife is asleep, but she's like laughing in her sleep. And he's like, babe, what's wrong? And she wakes up, and she's like, oh man, I was having a dream. And she's like, what was your dream? What's going on? You all right? And then she's like, I was just having this dream about, I don't know, like I was at a party and there was all these people and everybody was smashing each other and I was smashing all these dudes and it was just dudes and nonstop and you were there and we were humiliating you, right? We were humiliating you and that's why I was laughing. And that's probably when you woke me up. So, you're in the movie, you're like, all right. For Nicole Kidman's character, like, all right, what do you want? What do you want here? But anyway, that's her dream. She's like, I had a dream that we were humiliating you and pretty much we're cucking you. And they kind of like just hug each other. He's like, oh, like it's all right, babe. Like, oh, it's all right, babe. They kind of hug each other because he's shook from what really happened, and now he's a little more shook because of his crazy ass wife, who I don't know if she's still high from the weed she smoked earlier or whatever. But right, he goes to sleep. He wakes up the next day, and he goes to the cafe. Right, he goes to the cafe next door. I mean, the cafe where the buddy worked at, the pianist, and you're right. The bar's obviously closed, but he asked the cafe, the diner right next door, and he's like, "Hey, I'm looking for the pianist next door. I was wondering if he would come in here. His name's Nick." He's like, "Oh, Nick, yeah. He's staying over here, but I don't want to say where because, it's private information." And he's like, "Oh, well, I'm actually his doctor, right?" Shows him his doctor card. And he's like, "All right, well, I guess I'll tell you, right?" So then he goes to the hotel where Nick's staying at, and the concierge is there. And he's like, "Oh, I'm looking for Nick Nightingale. Could you ring him for me?" He's like, "Oh, Nick, he checked out this morning." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, he checked out this morning like at 5. He's like, "Oh, that's kind of weird. Like, that's kind of a weird time to check out. Was everything all right?" And he's like, "Well," he shows him a doctor card. He's like, "Oh, all right, well, you're his doctor, so well, yeah, something was kind of weird because he came in at 4 in the morning with 2 men. He had like a black eye, bruise on his face, and then he when he was leaving, he tried to slide me an envelope, but one of the men saw it and he took it. And then they said, oh, like whatever mail he gets, somebody's going to come pick it up." And then he left with them. And he's like, "Huh, that's weird." Because, he knows it was like the rich elite people, right? But he's like, "Okay, that's kind of weird." So, where does he go next? Where he goes next? He's like, "Okay, that's pretty weird, right?" He's trying to piece the puzzle together, trying to figure things out. And he's like, "All right, that's pretty weird. Let me go return my cloak." So he goes to the shop, right? The shop where he got the cloak and the mask and the hood and the tuxedo. And the guy's there, right? The old man, the old Russian guy, he's there. He's like, "Oh, my friend, doctor, this and that." He's like, "Yeah, it'll be this much. He's like, "Oh, where's the mask?" And Tom Cruise is like, "Oh, the mask is in there?" He's like, "No, like maybe you left it at the party." He's like, "Oh yeah, maybe I did. I'll just pay for it," right? And he's paying for his tab. And the daughter, right? The daughter that we saw last night, she comes out, and then so do the 2 other men that were there too. So he's like, so it's weird because when we last saw them, the man, the owner was angry at the guys, and he's like, "Oh, the police are gonna come, this and that." And then the guys leave. They're like, "All right, well, we'll see you later." And then the store owner's like, "All right, guys, take it easy, bye." And then Tom Cruise is like, "Hey, what was that about? Like, you said you were going to call the cops, this and that, whatever. And he's like, "Oh, different, we settled it a different way. Everything's fine. Everything's good." And he's like, "Oh, and remember, doctor, if you ever need anything, you let me know." And he kind of like grabs the girl, like hugs the girl as he's saying that. He's like, "If you ever need anything, you let me know. It doesn't even have to just be a suit." Kind of holds the girl, insinuating like, "Yo, if you ever need a girl, we got him here." Because the girl, she's like giving Tom Cruise the eyes. So Tom Cruise is like, what is happening? What is going on, right? So everything's throwing Tom Cruise off, right? So he just leaves, right? So all this is happening. Tom Cruise doesn't know what to do. So he goes back to the mansion, right? To the gate where the taxi driver dropped him off. And he goes, and a man pulls up from the other side of the gate. A man pulls up in like this nice car, and he gets out of the car. He walks towards Tom Cruise, and he hands him an envelope. And the envelope says, give up your inquiries, which are completely useless, and consider these words a second warning. We hope, for your own good, this will be sufficient." Is that a threat? I don't know. I would take it as a threat. Fuck it. So Tom Cruise gets the letter. He's a little shook. He's like, "What is going on? Am I dealing with powers beyond my comprehension?" Right? So he goes home, and it's like around Christmas time, right? This whole time it's like Christmas time, the day before Christmas. And he goes home. He's dealing with his family, right? They have a daughter. The wife's teaching her how to read, and the mom, she's teaching her how to read. And Tom Cruise can hear her like, "Oh yeah, so you have $2 plus this and this." And then like the words that she's saying kind of change into the words that she said to him the night before. He's like, "I would like to do smash me and take me and have me and whatever." And it just keeps ringing in Tom Cruise's head. He keeps thinking about that. And he goes, right? He keeps going doing his stuff because he has to work. But he calls off work to go keep investigating this thing, right? So he's like, "All right, let me go let me go find that girl that was nice to me, right? The prostitute that was nice to me, that he ended up paying. He's like, let me go, I'm going to drop something off for her. And he knocks on the door because I think he's kind of piecing together that the only person that could have known me, that would have been a girl there, would have been the prostitute that he met the night before. The prostitute he met earlier that night. So he goes and knocks on her door, and her roommate's there. And he's like, hey, I'm looking for whatever her name was. And she's like, oh, she's not here, blah, blah, blah. But are you're Bill? You're the doctor? He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, she told me how nice you were, right? Because you gave her that extra $100, which is $200, really. Gave her the extra $200. She told me how nice you were. You could come in, right? She's like, she's inside. She's kind of flirty, too. She might be a prostitute, too. I don't know. Prostitutes, are they usually roommates? They usually roommate together, most likely. But, right? She's flirting with him. She's like, oh, yeah, I don't know when that girl's going to come back. But we did just find out she had HIV. That girl had HIV, which is good. I mean, Tom Cruise didn't sleep with her, but she had HIV. So Tom Cruise is like, oh, man, that's crazy, bro. But he leaves, right? He leaves the apartment, and he's walking in, and he feels like somebody's following him. And he looks back, and there's somebody back there, right? They're wearing, like, the nice dress coat, like the quarter-length jacket, right? They're wearing a suit and jacket and stuff. And he's, like, following them. He's following Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise, he stops at a newspaper stand, because in these times, you would have to buy a newspaper at a stand. So he dips into a cafe, right? So he could get off the street, and he's reading his newspaper. And in the newspaper, it says, ex-beauty queen in hotel drug overdose. And it was a picture of the prostitute girl, right? Who he thought was the girl that was saving him at the party. So he's seeing this, and he's connecting all these dots. Everything's kind of coming together. He's like, yo, did they kill that girl? Because she took my punishment. My punishment was death. And now she's dead. So he goes to the hospital, right? To the morgue where she's buried. And he's like, hey, I'm looking for a patient of mine. And they're like, oh, she died. She's dead. I was like, oh no, really? Can I see her? And he goes and he verifies that it's her, right? They pull out her cold body from the freezer, and he's looking at her, and she's really her, and she's really gone. And he's just like letting it see. He's letting it sit how deep the situation is, right? That this girl that saved him is gone, right? He's kind of like, what? All right. Doesn't know what to do. His hands are tied. He doesn't know what to do. So as he's leaving the hospital, right? He just saw this girl. She's dead. He's leaving the hospital. He gets a phone call on his cell phone. And it's his rich buddy. The one from the night before at the regular party. Not at the Eyes Wide Shut party. But at the regular party. The one where like, his whatever it was, right? The rich buddy. He goes over to his house, his mansion. And he's like, hey, Tom Cruise, how are you? Come on in. Right? He's playing pool. And he's like, oh, let me pour you a scotch, this and that. And then he's like, I gotta tell you something. He's like, yeah, what is it? Tom Cruise is like, what is it? He's like, let me just, look, I don't want to be blunt. I'm just going to be blunt. I know what's going on and this and that, and you need to stop. And he's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And he's like, look, Tom, I was at that party. We saw you. I know it was you, this and that. And all these people, you wouldn't believe it, bro. You wouldn't believe who these people are. It'll make you throw up if I tell you their names. But you need to stop. You don't know what you're messing with. And he's like, what are you talking about, bro? He's like, Tom, we saw you. I was at that party. I know the truth. And I've had you followed, and you talked to the clerk about what happened to Nick Nightingale at his hotel. You went to go visit that girl who's dead. Or like, I don't know if he said the girl because that comes up. He's like, you went to go visit this. You went back to the place. You talked to these people. You're looking for this. You're doing this. You need to stop. You need to stop, Tom. And he's like, it was all a setup. We were just setting you up so you could be scared and you could stop looking it up. Stop trying to find them. It was just a charade. He said it was a charade. We were just trying to intimidate you. We were trying to scare you so you could leave it alone. And Tom Cruise is like, okay, that would be the best option. Like, oh, these guys were just messing with me. They were scaring me. So I wouldn't look further anymore. But he knows for a fact the girl he just saw in the morgue is dead. So he's saying, like, where in this charade does a girl end up dead, overdosed? And the rich buddy, he's like, oh, that has nothing to do with that. She just overdosed. You know that happens all the time. Remember you helped me the other night with a girl who overdosed. It was just the same thing. Like when we left her at her apartment, she was fine. So she must have overdosed later. Tom Cruise, he's just not buying it. Right? And Tom Cruise is like, how could this happen? Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean this girl just OD'd, this and that? And the dude's like, look, Tom. He snaps on him, right? He's like, look, Tom, you wouldn't believe this. You're out of your depth. This happens all the time. She was just a hooker. She's just another hooker that we used at the party. We do all this sex stuff, and then she goes home and she ODs. Girls, all these hookers OD all the time. This and that. And then Tom, he's like upset, right? He's upset with his friend. He's upset with this whole situation. He accepts. I mean, he has nothing else. That's the only answer he has. He's torn. He's torn about it, and he goes home. And he goes home. He takes off his suit, takes off his shoes and everything like that. Has a beer, and he has a beer, and his wife's in bed, and he goes into the bedroom, and on his pillow, right where he sleeps, is the mask that he wore to the masquerade ball. So these people, right, whoever they are, whatever it is, they have access to come into his house whenever they want, when his family's sleeping. So Tom Cruise, he's crying, right? He starts crying. He's crying on the bed. His wife wakes up. And she's like, Tom Cruise, what is it? Tom Cruise, what is it? And he's like, I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you everything. Right? So the next scene, we just see the wife smoking a cigarette on the couch. He told her everything, right? Everything from what happened when we last spoke, when you told me that you wanted that dude to smash you. I went to the thing. Dude told me about a party. I went over here. The dress. I rented the cloak. The people were there. I went to the party. They caught me. I left. The piano player, my friend, is missing. The guy who rented me the suit, the traffic's people, this and that, the house, everybody, we don't know who it is. They could come into our house, whatever it is. So now he told her the truth. He told her everything. And she has tears in her eyes. She's smoking a cigarette. And all she says is their daughter's name, right? I don't know what the daughter's name is, but she's like, I told her we'll take her Christmas shopping today, so we got to go. Right, so it's morning, right? By this point, it's morning. He told her the whole truth. And they go Christmas shopping, and everybody's buying presents. It's a happy time of year. The daughter's there. And they're just walking through the aisles. They're walking through, like nothing happened. They haven't spoken about it. So whenever the daughter goes ahead to pick out of the toys, he said, what do you think? And she says, what do I think, right? They're in the store. The daughter's shopping around. He said, what do I think? I think maybe we should be grateful. She says, grateful that we've managed to survive through all of our adventures. She's like, oh, be grateful that we managed to survive through all of our adventures, right? Kind of all the stuff that he did, whether they were real or if they were only a dream, right? She kind of has this this look on her face. And he's like, are you sure? He's like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, I'm sure that the reality. She says, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that the reality of one night can't be the truth of a whole lifetime. That's what she says. And Tom, he says, and no dream is ever just a dream, right? Like a question. And she kind of just says, The important thing is that we're awake now. But she says, but I do love you. She said, there's something very important we need to do as soon as possible. And he said, what's that? She kind of stares at him. She said, fuck. She said, fuck. We need to fuck. And it fades to black. And that was Eyes Wide Shut. Tom Cruise, a doctor who's, I don't know, wife got an attitude. His wife got an attitude at him. Didn't want to go home. Ends up at an elitist party, which is kind of like ritual, kind of like sex vibes. And they kind of wanted, whether they wanted him to scare him, what they said, was it true? Right? Did they say, oh, it was just an act that we put on to scare you? Was that true? And that girl really did just end up ODing? Or were they for real, right? They killed that girl. They were tracing him. They got rid of all the people, all these loose ends. Did his wife really let the dude smash him? Because that's kind of what they were insinuating at the end. Did she let that dude smash him? It's kind of like, all right, I'm going to forgive your wild night. You kind of forgive my wild night. Oh, Stanley Kubrick. You opened our eyes wide shut. You shut our eyes wide. That was Eyes Wide Shut. That was pretty cool. You should watch it if you got the time. If you got the time, you want to rent it, It's pretty cool. I'm probably gonna watch some more Stanley Kubrick, learn a little bit more about him. That's pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Like, share, subscribe. Follow me on YouTube. The Cine-Ops Pod. The Cine-Ops Pod on YouTube. Email me, cineopspod@gmail.com. Subscribe on Spotify. Leave a comment. Share with your friends. Whatever you want to do. I do stand-up sometimes. I do videos sometimes. I do podcasts sometimes. I love you guys. I'm Alvy. I'll see you.